false school threats here and across the country.
Districts sent out notices today informing parents of this screenshot circulating online of random attacks at various schools.
Even though investigators say it's not credible, the threats still put a lot of families on edge. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake talked to law enforcement and a parent about the concern over student safety.
So I first want to ease some concerns that parents may have. According to most of the school districts that we talked to in the Triad, there haven't been any issues on any school campuses today. Triad school districts say they are aware of a vague school threat message on social media that's circulating across North Carolina as well as other states. Randolph County Sheriff's Office got a call Thursday evening about a Snapchat threat. Detectives are actively investigating the post that shows a picture of a phone screen with a message related to a threat to commit a school shooting today. According to law enforcement, the post originated in another state. Out of precaution, the Sheriff's Office had extra deputies assisting school resource officers at most Randolph County schools today.
Obviously, we want to protect our children. I say our children, they're as much our children as they are their parents. We take it just as seriously. Any threat of violence, whether it's at a school or anywhere, we're going to take seriously.
Now, excuse me, now parents say they are still worried even though the threat is not credible.
We've already had an issue with them not wanting to go to school this year, and this on top of it is just like, it's crazy. It's like, can kids just not be kids and just go to school and enjoy being at school?
Now, Guilford County Schools, Winston-Salem, Forsyth County Schools, Alamance, Burlington Schools, all aware of the school threat, all keeping a close eye on things along with law enforcement. Now, this is a message Northwest Guilford High School parents received regarding the threat today. The principal urges parents and students not to spread misinformation. We ask that too.
Amber, thank you. Again, it has happened across much of the country today. For example, Miami-Dade schools in Florida saw online threats. Leaders say the threats came from their neighboring school district, but it's not clear who sent them. Both districts had extra law enforcement on campus. It is so important to report a threat rather than to share it. The anonymous See Something, Say Something app has really come in handy for law enforcement. It came about as part of the Sandy Hook Promise, a safety program launched after the 2012 school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut. More than 23,000 schools nationwide use the app, including several in our area.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, investigators in Wake County are waiting for the extradition of a murder suspect who escaped from jail. The FBI found Alder Marin-Sotelo yesterday hiding in Mexico. He'd been on the run since Sunday when he broke out of a jail in Farmville, Virginia. Marin-Sotelo is accused of killing Wake County Deputy Ned Bird last summer. Investigators say he took off in a red Ford Mustang. They say his sister bought the getaway car in High Point and paid someone to park it outside the jail. She is now in federal custody. The FBI is still looking for the car and investigating Marin-Sotelo's whereabouts while on the run.
Greensboro police are investigating a shooting overnight on Westgate City near Colby Street. One person was hurt. Call Crime Stoppers if you might know something about this. The city of Mebane hired a new police chief. Mitch McKinney currently serves as the deputy chief of police in Apex, west of Raleigh. McKinney has more than 2 decades of experience, including time spent at Chapel Hill PD. He'll take over the department in July.
A new CDC report shows the number of people vaping is growing faster than traditional cigarettes. According to its latest data, young adults in North Carolina are vaping more than any other age group. Here's a deeper look at those numbers from our National Verify team.
It was this study from Help Advisor that made us curious about the numbers behind vaping. The study claims North Carolina is third on the list when it comes to the growth in 18 to 24-year-olds who are current e-cigarette users. To get the facts, we checked with the author of the study, Christian Worstel, from helpadvisor.com. the CDC's Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System, and Dr. Pyle Coley.
Worstel tells us they use the data from the CDC's Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System, which is a health-related telephone survey conducted in each state. Every year, the CDC releases new numbers, but it's on a 2-year delay. So the latest data is from 2021.
Looking at the graph, you can see in 2021, more people in the age group 18 to 24 claimed they currently use e-cigarettes. And Worstel says that number has grown over the past 5 years.
In North Carolina, that number was 190% increase, which was the third highest increase.
Here in the Tar Heel state, of those surveyed ages 18 to 24, 20% said they used e-cigarettes in 2021. That number has more than doubled since 2016.
20 years ago, it was high school kids smoking cigarettes in the bathroom. Today, it's high school kids vaping in the bathroom. The principle has remained the same. It's just the technology is different.
That change in technology still comes with the same risk and some new ones.
We're learning that, the stimulants used in vaping can activate the inflammation in our body, just like cigarette smoking can. We're learning that it can, actually increase risk of cancer in the same way it can cause lung damage because of the way that we're putting it into our body. So a whole host of effects that we're learning about.
With your Verify Fact Check, I'm Megan Bragg.
Also related to vaping, a high school in the Triangle closed some of its bathrooms because students wouldn't stop vaping in them. Leesville Road High in Raleigh sent a message to parents saying the smoke alarms are constantly going off in the bathrooms. The school has tried to address the issue, like having teachers monitor the stalls and tightening punishment, but apparently nothing is working. Half of the restrooms will be closed for the rest of the school year. That's when you know that things are just getting out of control.
Out of control.
You have to close the bathroom.
Well, I've got teacher friends who say that kids vape in the back of the classroom. They'll turn their back and they'll puff it really quick.
And another thing is where kids are hiding the vapes, because a lot of parents, they might not even know that their kids are doing this. I've seen reports where parents go into a room and try to find where vapes are hidden. Yeah. They use Sharpies, they use Mountain Dew bottles, very creative ways. So I think parents need to be in on this conversation for sure.
And I mean, there are so many just very appealing flavors out there. Yeah. I mean, you can't blame the kids for trying it because when we were kids, it was cigarettes,
yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah.
And you try it, and it's disgusting the first time around.
And what shocks me is the numbers. I think it's like 1 in 10 kids are vaping in high school and middle school, but that middle school age, it just shocks me because when I was in middle school, I was outside playing with my friends, but to think that's a lot of children, so it really is a growing issue.
I mean, when I was in middle school, people were offering me cigarettes.
Right.
I think it's just changed now to something that's easier to hide.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I talked to this guy who had to go to rehab when he was in high school. He was addicted to a bunch of different drugs, and he says it all started with vaping for him.
Yeah.
So he wanted to warn people and parents to really watch your kids on this.
Yeah, and I think they say when you start off vaping, there's a strong likelihood that you'll start smoking cigarettes, which we know are not good for your body. We know they're not good for your lungs. So if they're starting at this young age, it's just going to get harder to get them off of it the older that they get.
Honestly, it is hard for me to believe that a school can't control it to the point where they have to close the bathroom.
I just think kids are very creative. And they find a way. If you're saying kids are doing it in the back of the class, they might have their book open doing it. I don't know, but I'm just saying, I just think kids are creative.
They say they just turn around and there's this giant puff of smoke back there and they don't know who did it.
Yeah, and then some kids just don't care.
So, wow.
Stay away, kids.
Tim Buckley is going to join us here for a look at the weather.
That's true. Beautiful weather for today. Really a nice day overall, and if you've been outside, you've noticed it's been a little bit warmer than the last couple of afternoons. Still all the sunshine you would want. Live look over High Point this afternoon. Pretty beautiful sky, and the temperature to boot 73 degrees. Hard to beat that for this time of year, so it's super comfortable to be outdoors. Now the humidity is still pretty low. We don't have much wind to deal with either, so it's kind of a crowd pleaser. 71 right now in Winston-Salem with just a couple of puffy clouds. Temperatures in your backyard right now, about 68 degrees in Wilkesboro. Same thing for Mount Airy. Some low 70s popping up. Lexington, kind of the warmest spot we can find at 73 right now. The winds, very light. That was a big issue earlier this week, but the wind finally quit, finally left us alone. It is coming in out of a different direction nowadays. It's coming out of the southeast. That's part of the reason why we are going to warm up going into the weekend. And boy, oh boy, good news for a change heading into the weekend. We've really lowered and almost taken out the rain chance completely for your Saturday. Instead, the rain looks to stay in South Carolina, and look what we are left with. Mostly sunny skies. Temperatures a bit warmer. It'll be around 75 for your Saturday afternoon, so you don't have to worry about getting wet from time to time. Instead, should be pretty good for outdoor activities. Now, we will have rain potential going into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, but it's still pretty low. So all things are in pretty good shape for your weekend. There's a look at your Saturday forecast. Upper 40s in the morning, mid 70s for the afternoon, right around 76 degrees. Warmer than we've been all week long. We'll flash you the 7-day forecast before we let you go. Take a look, upper 70s for Sunday, close to 80 degrees. mid-80s for Monday and Tuesday. That's when the heat and humidity starts to build back in. But each of those days, we do have a risk of a couple scattered thunderstorms, mostly for afternoon and evening. You'll want to use that News 2 app to see where they're forming, where they're going, so you can stay ahead of any possible downpours.
The royal coronation isn't the only crowning event taking place this weekend. Tomorrow is also Kentucky Derby Day, and there's one unlikely contender that's a strong favorite.
From the hustle and bustle of the nation's capital to the serenity of a Virginia farm.
I'm Gator. You got your big head in the middle of everything.
A high-powered attorney has come full circle. Amy Moore retired from practicing law in 2016 and moved to Southgate Farm, but says life has not slowed down very much.
Well, it hasn't been too much of a retirement because it's a fairly demanding job, but it's a much less stressful job.
Moore grew up around horses and started riding at 6 years old, but once her career picked up, she had to put her passion on pause.
After a few years, I got too busy to have anything to do with horses.
After leaving law, Moore says she went over budget buying her first horse named Queen Caroline. Taking that bet has led to this weekend's odds-on favorite to win the Kentucky Derby.
You don't wake up and think you've bred a grade 1 winner right off the bat.
That wasn't a feeling you had?
No, I hoped you would be successful.
Forte was Moore's first foal bred from Queen Caroline, and now Moore says she's feeling a different type of stress, but it's all worth it.
I've enjoyed it.
You may change your mind when you're watching Forte race.
Well, that might be stressful.
That may be pretty stressful. Moore is hoping for a hero's return to the farm for Forte, but says she's already filled with pride.
It's kind of a dream come true for me. Whether he wins or loses, I think he's done a lot. He's been very successful. I'm very proud of him.
And the pride is on full display all over the walls of her office.
We're running out of room.
As Moore hopes for another win following the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
Very beautiful horse. So question for you two. Have you guys ever been to the Derby or a form of the Derby?
I mean, I've had a lot of mint juleps, but I've never been to the Derby.
I've been to Derby parties, but never the Derby.
I would love to go out there. I just love the dresses that the women wear, the hats, all of that good stuff, but I've never been to the Derby. When I was in college at UVA in Charlottesville, we have an event called Foxfields, which is a horse race event. Everybody gets dressed up, wears their pearls, their nice hats, and it's a good social time.
There is a horse track in Dallas where I went to college, and we went there a couple of times. And it's fun to watch the races, but it's over so fast. So you're there like all day, and there's only these tiny little races throughout the day.
Yeah, it's mostly the social event for
Yeah.
the food and the cocktails, you know, the dressing up and all that. You know, some people don't even see a horse when they go to these things.
Right. I like to pick my horse based on their name, not based on their ability or the odds. So, you know, because they always have like wild names.
Yeah. Have any of your horses won or?
Heck no. So maybe I need a different technique.
Yeah, maybe. What about you?
I'm more into greyhound racing because we have a greyhound, right?
True.
So I like to watch him race around in the backyard and pretend it's the Kentucky Derby sometimes. I'm like, go George, go!
So cute. Well, lots of fun stuff happening this weekend. We'll keep our eyes on that. We'll be right back.
Hello there, welcome back. We, of course, are having ourselves a really nice Friday across the area. Hopefully you've had a chance to maybe get outside from time to time. Overall, it's been really pretty. Only a couple of clouds in the afternoon sky as we look at our sky cameras across the Triad area. Everybody should be kind of enjoying this type of weather. It's warmed up from a couple of days ago. We've also seen much lighter wind, so really there aren't any problems with being outside except maybe the pollen that's still a little pesky for us. Let's zoom out and you'll notice kind of an odd temperature trend. I'll point out a couple of things here. Notice how hot it is, of course, in Texas. 94 degrees currently in Dallas. But notice how we're in the 70s, so is Cincinnati and Chicago. But you have this little green streak right here with cooler temperatures across Tennessee and Georgia. The reason for that, they have a bit of a system here. The showers and clouds, that is what we had been forecasting to move into our area by your Saturday. The forecast has changed, and I'm really happy to say that because this no longer should be blanketing us for tomorrow. What's happening is this high pressure area up there in the Northeast and New England, it's going to be sliding south, and it kind of acts as a bit of a blocker. If you think about football or something, you got someone in the way, you can't really move in. Well, this is going to be the same effect. So as it sits there, that rain and cloud cover can't really move in all that effectively. So what we'll see in And a contrast is we'll have sunshine most of the day, maybe a couple of clouds, but the showers and clouds kind of just sitting in South Carolina and fizzling out there, which leaves us with a dry start to the weekend. That's the good news. Now, as we go into Sunday, what we'll have to watch is pretty nice weather most of the day, but showers and storms up in the Midwest, places like Indiana and Ohio. They could be trying to move south by the afternoon, and we'll have to time those out for you pretty much day of. Those systems are kind of notorious for forming late and being a little bit having a mind of their own. But bottom line, most of the weekend looks fine. This is around 11 o'clock Sunday morning. This is 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Notice that line I was mentioning up in West Virginia and Kentucky. That could survive the trip from the mountains, or it could fall apart. So bottom line, as we go into the weekend, both days look to be warm. We'll be in the mid-70s for your Saturday, and I have it pretty much dry now, only a 20% chance of rain. And for Sunday, we'll call for maybe an isolated shower or storm. That would mostly be for the afternoon and evening time if those showers and storms can survive the mountains. Now, it is going to get a lot warmer in the days ahead going into next week. I have us at about 83 for Monday and Tuesday. Yes, the pollen, it's still here, but we are starting to move into the tail end of tree pollen season, which is good news if you suffer from the allergies. Monday and Tuesday, one thing you'll notice about both of those is those scattered storms keep on moving into the area. We'll watch each afternoon and evening. Some of those could be on the strong or even severe side. We haven't had a lot of that this year, but I do expect Monday and Tuesday might have some. After that, slightly cooler weather, but still pretty nice for this time of year. Upper 70s, mid 70s, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as we go toward the tail end of next week. Have a good weekend.
Did you notice anything odd shining in the sky last night? Several of you called us after seeing these lights moving sort of like a train.
Yeah, they're actually Starlink satellites. The devices belong to SpaceX and help supply internet to all of us. Right now, there are about 4,000 of these satellites in the sky.
The light show got a lot of you talking on our Facebook page. Chrissy says she saw it while traveling in Oak Ridge She says they were moving slow, then started going faster before disappearing out of sight. Brittany shared this picture with us showing another angle, looked at the defined streak there.
And Shannon says she and her daughter saw the lights as well. And Whiff joined in with a joke. He says, sorry for the confusion, those weren't satellites, but instead they were baseballs knocked into orbit from a Burlington sock puppets baseball practice. Home season kicks off June 8th.
That's cute.
I would have loved to see that. Have you ever seen them, Tim?
I have once or twice. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually. And I'll tell you, if you see them and you don't know what you're looking at, you're going to freak out.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Because it is painfully obvious.
UFO.
It is not natural.
Yeah.
It is something you've never seen before.
Okay.
And it's truly just like a line of blinking lights almost that's kind of glittering through the sky. It's very different than looking at the space station or something because there's so many of them. So last night you saw about 50 to 55 in a row. And the thing about these is that when they launch a new batch, they're very visible right away. But eventually they have these solar shields that deploy, and it makes them kind of invisible.
Okay.
So the idea is there are 4,000 up there right now. If they were all making a glittering light all the time, we'd never be able to have a nice view of the night sky.
Oh, okay. So
And this
they're
would be really
always
bad.
there.
They're always there,
Okay,
sure.
wow.
But you don't want them to be so visible all the time because then you don't have a good way to look at the stars. you know?
Yeah, when I've never seen this in person before, but when I saw the video on our website, at first I said, is that a shooting star? Because I only saw that little segment. I'm like, it's not disappearing. What is that?
It looks alien-like, or
Yeah.
They are unusual, and we can track them. There's a website you can go to track these if you go to trackstarlink.com. But it's kind of interesting that you can get internet from these things. It's part of the Elon Musk SpaceX program. Yeah, and the idea is that you don't need to be in a city to get internet. You know,
I love it. I love everybody's reaction to it.
Yeah,
too. Just the excitement
so
about
unusual
it.
too. You know, I don't even remember the last time that this has been talked about.
I've never even heard of it before.
It's been going on for a couple of years, but it's not an everyday thing. Certainly, it's usually whenever they launch up a new batch of satellites that you get it on like the day or two after. So they just launched one from Florida earlier this week, and this was the first couple of days afterwards. They probably won't be visible tonight.
So I've only seen the video like the one posted here. Are they all in formation together, or are they spread out sporadically in the sky?
Yeah, so they're all in orbit. So it's just a straight line that kind of goes like this. Now the other ones I'm not sure.
Okay.
So you just kind of answered my next question. So you don't go out tonight expecting to see them?
I wouldn't think so. They look like have very poor visibility for tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Learn something new
Good
every
stuff.
day.
Look up in the sky. You never know what you'll see.
It's like the more you know, but with Starlink satellites, right? We'll go right back. Welcome back to the 4 to 5. It is a Friday version. I almost thought about singing the Rebecca Black version of Friday.
Oh, wow.
Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday, partying, partying, yeah.
You're actually better than Rebecca Black.
I'm probably better than you.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
like that
Way better
song.
than me. That's Lauren Coleman. You know her. This is Tim Buckley. I'm Chad Silver, and we are glad that you are here with us today.
And we're also glad because the weather is so great today,
So
too.
nice, and
Yeah.
we have good news. I don't like to deliver bad news,
Okay.
Earlier in the week, we had bad news to deliver about the weekend. Now I have better news, so we'll get to the weekend forecast in a couple.
Love it.
All right, let's hop into some news with some of your 4 to 5 headlines. Law enforcement are investigating more false school threats in the Triad. Several districts sent out notices today informing parents of this screenshot circulating online mentioning random attacks at various schools. The Randolph County Sheriff's Office was first made aware last night when someone saw the threat on the app Snapchat. Now, according to law enforcement, the post originated in another state. Extra deputies were on duty at most Randolph County schools today. Alamance Burlington School System and Guilford County Schools say they are not aware of any immediate threats and will continue to monitor safety. Check out this video from the Winston-Salem Fire Department. Fire responders responded to flames spewing out of a landscaping trailer this morning. You can see the crews attacking the fire from the back of the cart. The department says the truck was hauling pine needles. It's not clear how the fire started. No injuries were reported.
Some Triad families could be eligible for free appliances. Duke Energy is offering to switch out high power items for more sustainable options. The company hopes the program will decrease electric bills for low-income families. The service is only available to people in Guilford and Forsyth counties. Check out the Duke Energy website to see if you qualify. A Triad nonprofit is giving out $100 Food Lion gift cards tomorrow. Amos of Alamance is passing out 100 of these gift cards beginning at 8 a.m. at First Baptist Church in Burlington. It is first come, first serve with a one-card limit.
The World Health Organization is ending the emergency it declared for COVID-19 more than 3 years ago. The announcement doesn't change much since many countries have already ended their states of emergency and lifted most public health restrictions. Next week, the COVID Public Health Emergency Declaration is ending in the United States. Let's dig deeper into what the move means for the fight against COVID.
It's a turning point in the 3-year fight against COVID. On May 11th, the nation's COVID-19 public health emergency will officially expire. But CDC Deputy Director Dr. Nirav D. Shah says that doesn't mean COVID is gone.
Does this at all change how the American public should treat COVID?
COVID-19 remains a risk, even though the public health emergency is coming to a close, especially for Americans who are immune compromised.
What the end of the public health emergency means is a shift in how the government fights COVID. Free tests won't be as readily available, and the CDC will no longer collect state and local data on COVID cases.
Dr. Shah, why now? Why is the public health emergency being ended?
There are a few reasons. The first is that the nature of COVID-19 is different now than it was 1, 2, or 3 years ago. Because of the work of getting vaccinated, getting tests available, and getting therapies, it's not the acute emergency that it was before. That's a good thing, even though it remains a risk.
But the CDC says it will continue to track the disease using data from labs, hospitals, and emergency departments. And doctors believe by testing wastewater, they can detect future COVID outbreaks quickly.
The director of the CDC is stepping down. President Joe Biden made that announcement today. Dr. Rochelle Walensky has overseen the agency for much of the COVID-19 pandemic. She feels since virus concerns are waning now is the time to make that transition. Walensky's last day is June 30th.
Working our way through May here. Everything really comfortable today. Beautiful sky too. And in the month of May, you're supposed to be kind of warm. Average highs now are in the 70s. By the end of the month, they get up into the 80s. We're finally starting to feel a little bit of that springtime warmth again. 70s currently in High Point, Winston-Salem. Looking at a beautiful blue sky. No traffic there on Salem Parkway. We're at 71 currently with some sunshine and low humidity. Hard to complain, right? We're in good shape too across all of your hometowns. Seeing 71 in Asheboro right now, 72 in Reedsville and in Burlington, 70 in Wilkesboro. Good stuff this afternoon, 60s in the North Carolina mountains. Not much of a breeze, just enough to move the air around, but one thing I've noticed is that the wind direction has changed in our area. It's no longer coming in out of the north, Now it's coming in out of the south, and that can help us to warm up a little bit day by day. Let's talk about tomorrow morning. Will be a little on the cool side, upper 40s to low 50s, but we should have some sunshine. And this has been a big change in the forecast, of course. Earlier this week, it looked like there would be a narrow band of rain over North Carolina for Saturday. That has shifted south, and now it's really looking like South Carolina that'll be dealing with that. So we reap all the rewards. We're in the low 70s by lunchtime, mid 70s for the afternoon. I'd really encourage you to get outside if you can stand the pollen. It's just going to be a really nice day. High temperatures a lot warmer than we had been forecasting because of the increased amounts of sunshine. So bottom line, morning time in the upper 40s, afternoon really gets warmer, mid 70s here, lots of sun too. It should be a good day to get outside and kind of enjoy what the outdoors has to offer here in the Triad. Now coming up, we're going to be talking more about the weekend, and what I'm looking at here is Saturday in good shape, of course, but going into early next week, this kind of starts on Sunday, we're going to see repeatedly these showers and storms try and dive south into our area. Sunday afternoon could be dealing with that. Same thing for Monday and Tuesday of next week. Take a look at the forecast. This is not any sort of washout weather, but occasional storm chances are possible Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday afternoons. You see the temperatures, nothing cold about this forecast. The mornings are warming up, the afternoons are warming up too, so you can enjoy more of that spring and summer warmth here in our area over the next 7 days.
Have you seen this strange story on Facebook? A town in New Jersey is trying to figure out who dumped 500 pounds of pasta in a wooded area. The noodles came in all shapes and sizes. They were able to quickly clean it up, but they're worried it could happen again since the town doesn't have a bulk garbage pickup service. Who would get rid of 500 pounds of pasta?
The big question is who would put 500 pounds of pasta there?
I don't know.
That's
And what do you
weird.
do? How do you clean it all up? Because when you make pasta wet, it expands, it gets clumpy. You know how if you drain the pasta and then you go eat your meal, it's all one big clump, the leftover. You can't get it apart very easily, so it's just going to be a starchy mess.
I know how to do it.
How?
Throw a bunch of sauce on it, go invite a couple of football teams over and said, go to work.
I don't know about all that, Chad.
Yeah, this is a big problem. Kind of looks like a, I don't know if it's vandalism, but it just seems like a prank, right?
Yeah, it does, because I'm like, why is that even, why would you pick this random wooded area?
Well, and who would spend the time to cook 500 pounds of pasta just to dump it?
And what an affront to the pasta, too. Pasta is something that should be enjoyed and, you know, consumed almost daily, and to throw it in the garbage is just
I'm surprised we don't see a lot of wildlife out there getting their hands
right?
on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it might be hazardous,
free
you know,
food.
who knows? Yeah, did they cook it first or was this all raw?
I think it was raw.
It looks, I mean, if you look at it, right, like the long, you're better at noodles than I
Yeah,
am, but I
I'm
mean,
not
it's like
sure.
it's all bent. It's not like it sticks straight.
Well, if you put dry pasta in cold water, does it still get cooked somewhat? I don't know. I have no idea.
Another verified.
I've never
from
done
Megan
that.
Malaris.
I don't
We have so
know,
many.
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go home, get some pasta. We'll throw it in the fountain in the weather garden and see what happens. I'm not eating that macaroni.
I love that.
We'll be right back.
She just told
That's
me,
funny.
because I just told them.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination.
God bless America. Right. You know, but I still got a race. Yeah. You. My check, Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
He is it. All right, my chocolate lab, all about the water. You see her here chasing the ducks, and then to my surprise, she decided, oh wait, they didn't let it go. Oh no, she jumps across the street and she like goes up into the water, into the lake. Did you know not all dogs know how to swim?
And so if they're just accidentally jumping off the boat, they're going to do that puppy splashing and panic. And so we want to go ahead and teach them not to panic, to enjoy the water.
Flailing paws, or what's known as the doggy paddle, won't actually keep all dogs afloat, and drowning is a real possibility.
You know, if the dog's not acclimated to water, it's not going to, especially a little dog, they're going to get fatigued and, you know, potentially it could happen.
Think Positive teaches dogs how to swim and even dock jump, but it all starts with the dogs in a life jacket. Really?
Our big focus to make sure that the back stays flat as they swim. Once they do, then we can remove the life jacket and then they have confidence knowing how to use the proper mechanics of their body and continue that strength and conditioning to swim on their own without the life jacket.
I had no idea that dogs could not swim.
I always thought it was just a natural thing that they do. You see it in the movies all the time. So I just thought it was natural instinct that they knew how to
doggy paddle.
Doggy paddle in the
Right.
water, yeah.
Right.
We actually learned this. So our family dog, Ginger, R.I.P. Ginger, passed away not too long ago. But when I was in high school, my brother and I, we were swimming, and my brother was trying to get the dog in the pool, and he kind of grabbed her foot, and she was real reluctant. And he eventually just got out and threw her in.
Ooh.
And I looked, and she started, you know, flailing, and I'm like, oh, she doesn't know how to swim. Like, she was
Right.
above water. But I looked, I said, oh, wow, she's not like fluid, like not Air Bud. You know, so I just got her up out of there. Exactly. I just thought it was an innate thing that they knew how to do, but I learned the hard way that it was not. We got her out of there, and she was not happy with my brother.
Oh,
Did y'all
okay. She
get
gave
her
him the stink eye.
No lessons. We just kept her out of the pool.
All right, so that's something like if you've got a dog and you're taking it to the lake
Yeah.
or, you know, boating or whatever else, so you probably need to have that life jacket on. I just thought that they knew how to swim. I also thought, because I've never had a puppy before Kona, that they just also knew how to walk on a leash. And they do not know how to do that
Learn that the
either.
They don't. They're tugging you everywhere. When my sister got her dog Roxy when she was a puppy, that was just always an event, taking her on a walk, because she wanted to go wherever she wanted to go and everything.
Hanging herself.
Yeah.
And see, for like you see these dogs that are like choking themselves every
Right,
day,
yes.
all day long. It's like you'd think that they would learn.
But no, they don't. Nope, you actually have to like train them and
Yep.
stuff, right?
Absolutely.
All right, and how about that old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Apparently you can.
Okay.
And you
'Cause
should
you can-
wait, right?
Right, you can teach them how to swim and all those other things. So
Cool.
there's that. All right.
The doggy paddle. Each year, the ESPY Awards recognize top athletic performances and accomplishments.
One school is working to bring a similar honor right here in the Triad. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey stopped by Northern Guilford High School, where plans for the celebration are underway. Hey, Jalen.
Hey, Lauren, how you doing today? Northern Guilford High School is doing something unique to highlight the year's athletic accomplishments. Instead of each sport doing separate end-of-the-season banquets, this year's sports marketing class thought it would be cool for all athletes to celebrate together at the school's first ever Nighthawk NESPY Awards.
It's basically a student-created, student-run sports awards show. It honors the athletes' successes and stuff like that.
This year, the student athletes at Northern Guilford High School are putting their own twist on the ESPY Awards.
We kind of want to make it different, so it included all the sports and all the athletics come together, because sports banquets are usually each sport separate, and we thought this was kind of a good way for all the varsity athletes to get together and celebrate their success through the season.
Rachel Pearsall is currently a senior at Northern Guilford. She, along with her sports marketing classmates, helped take this from an idea to reality.
So we started making the tickets, we made the QR codes for the tickets, and then we decided what categories we should do for the awards and stuff like that, and the nominees. And we also hosted voting in the cafeteria during lunch for it.
The group came up with 15 different awards and had all participating varsity athletes cast votes to determine the winners. Chase Cochran is the sports marketing teacher at Northern. He tells me the effort his students have put into this project reflect the attitude of the entire student body.
That's the thing about the kids here at Northern. There's a ton of pride in what we do here and what we stand for as a community. And I think this shows a testament to the things that we try to teach our kids every day in the building. And that accountability and that ownership piece, I think it's really shown its true colors here at the show, because the kids are putting in so much work and they're willing to put in work outside of school to do things.
Some of the categories that will be honored at this year's NESPYs include Rookie of the Year, Play of the Year, as well as Team of the Year.
Love this. It's always great to honor our students, especially for their great achievements, what they're doing on and off the field. So I think this is great. Great event.
And I think especially, to motivate them to do better, especially for some teams that, they're not going to go to state,
Exactly.
whatever team. And so to be able to work towards something else, a more, relatable goal.
Absolutely. And I just love the fact that they're all coming together as an athletic department to highlight the moments that they clearly have supported each other throughout the year, but to come together and to have this formal, semi-business business formal attire type of outing for the kids to come out and just enjoy themselves. I think it's pretty cool.
Because we've all played sports in high school, and it's just a certain experience and a certain bond that you have with other athletes of other teams. It's just something that you all just get. So this is a beautiful way to bring everybody together for sure.
I'm kind of surprised that we haven't heard of more of this.
Yeah, I'm like, this kind of needs to be the example, the blueprint for other schools.
I think that's what the plan is. So hopefully we'll see a couple more of these pop up across the county, across the area. We'll have more stories to cover.
Alrighty, we'll be right back.
All right, y'all, we are looking at your Friday forecast. Of course, today was beautiful. You don't need to take my word for it. Just take a look. This is an animated time lapse throughout the course of the day, and you don't see much difference from start to finish, only a couple of puffy clouds. I can tell you from standing outside here right now, it's perfectly comfortable. One of those days where you could really kind of dress however you'd like and still be comfortable. The sun is pretty strong though, so keep that in mind. The UV index is pretty high. Temperatures are in the low 70s currently right now, low to mid 70s area wide, mid 60s in the North Carolina mountains at this time, so a little cooler as you would expect up that way. Now as we widen out the view, you might notice something if you're watching closely. You see this cooler area, that little shade of green across the south? That doesn't really make a lot of sense until you see this. Cloud cover pretty thick and rain showers pretty prevalent from Tennessee over to Georgia, Atlanta, and also places like Hilton Head, South Carolina. So what gives? Where's that going to go? Well, throughout the week, it had looked like it would move right into our area by Saturday, but as of this moment, it certainly looks like it's not going to do that. Instead, we have high pressure kind of in a perfect spot to block it. What that can do is it really acts like a shield, kind of preventing weather systems from moving into our area. And as it slides closer, it's going to be in a better spot to keep that rain and cloud in South Carolina. So tomorrow, we've really lowered the rain chance almost completely, all the way down to 20%. So I'm not expecting you to have to worry about much of anything for tomorrow, which means you can get outside as much as you'd like. By Sunday, we are starting to see a new weather pattern developing. High pressure going farther south and farther offshore. that's a favorable position for us to warm up. And the reason for that, winds go around it clockwise, and what you'll notice, we have a wind out of the south and out of the west. So by Sunday afternoon, we're pumping in some of that heat. We should have an easy time getting into the upper 70s, maybe close to 80 degrees. I'm not too worried about rain much of the day on Sunday, but one thing we're going to watch will be some showers and storms well to our north that might be able to survive the trip. This is Saturday morning, 4 a.m. right there. Notice the cloud cover and rain in South Carolina, but our futurecast keeping us pretty dry through Saturday afternoon, even with good amounts of sunshine. That's why we've bumped up the temperature to 75 for Saturday afternoon. Looking at Sunday right here, pretty nice through the middle of the day. That's about 11 o'clock. But watch what happens in the afternoon. You do see this line of showers and thunderstorms. That's West Virginia, that's Tennessee, that's Kentucky. It's trying to get in here. Of course, some very tall mountains stand in between us and that line of showers and storms. It's just a chance that they could survive the trip. So Sunday evening, kind of keep an eye to the sky. Certainly keep the News 2 weather app very handy because you might need to use that interactive radar from time to time to help kind of keep you ahead of any showers and thunderstorms. This is how the weekend looks right now. Saturday, a very low chance for rain. Temperatures will be in the mid 70s after morning lows in the low 50s. We go into Sunday, high temperature, bumped it up all the way close to 80 degrees. There will be a low chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. That line we showed you on the screen. We'll track it for you throughout the course of your weekend. And warmer air just keeps on moving in. I have us in the mid 80s now for Monday and Tuesday. Both of those days have a better chance of those late day showers and storms. Some of those could be on the strong to severe side. We're going to be watching it very carefully for you. In the meantime, enjoy the nice weather this weekend.
It's Cinco de Mayo, and retailers nationwide are giving out discounts to celebrate. Chipotle is offering free delivery with a special code, while other major dining chains, including Applebee's and Taco Bell, are offering food and drink discounts. So whether you're eating out or hosting potlucks with friends, we wanted to know what your night's plans are looking like. Michael Allen says, I'm going to make me some Rotel dip with ground beef and chips. Angie Petty wrote, it's my birthday, so celebrating with family. And then Mark Owen said, reliving Taco Tuesday. Those all sound like great ideas.
While I love Mexican food and I love Cinco de Mayo, you will not catch me near a Mexican restaurant today because it's so busy.
Oh, it is busy. It does get really busy. I remember one time I went to, I think it's called On the Border several years ago, that restaurant, and you had to get wristbands to come in because it was that many people. Yeah.
Well, I probably won't hit a Mexican restaurant tonight, but I might have a few tequilas tonight. I'm not going to lie. This is one of my favorite holidays. My friends and I in college, we used to throw a Cinco de Mayo bash every year. And
nice.
So although they're not here to celebrate with us, I will celebrate in their memory.
Okay.
You know, we might get on FaceTime and hang out later.
And cheers each other.
Yeah, just responsibly.
All right, well, our very own Hunter Funk is debuting her first My Two Cents. She will dive into the history behind Cinco de Mayo and debunk a few common myths surrounding its origin, coming up after the break.
Stuff bell pepper whip taco filling.
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, ice cold milk and eating whatever, something.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check, check, check.
And cheese. Are they talking to me? check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, Cinco.
Bienvenidos, es tiempo para my 2 cents. And today we're talking about Cinco de Mayo. A lot of people believe that Cinco de Mayo is Mexican Independence Day. Well, contrary to popular belief, that's not the case. The holiday celebrates a single battle. It's the date the Mexican army won the Battle of Puebla over France in 1862. According to History.com, that battle lasted from daybreak to early evening on May 5th. It's actually a relatively minor holiday in Mexico, but here in the US, it's evolved into a commemoration of Mexican culture and heritage. While we're quick to devour those amazing tacos and some margaritas, before you do this year, I believe it's important to look at the ways you can really celebrate the holiday. Be sure to take a few minutes and learn about the holiday. Then, educate others that you're celebrating with. Also, eat locally. Support a local Mexican-owned business in the Triad. Today's a great day to celebrate, but I believe it's important to take a little initiative to educate ourselves on ways we can support Mexican heritage. Esos son my 2 cents.